Hey guys, welcome back to Making Everyday Magic. My name is Shanna. If you are new here, we are a homeschooling family of 4. We focus on secular curriculum choices and we share because we care. No, we share because in my own homeschool journey, it has been exceptionally hard to find a good fit, to find a voice that sounds like mine in the homeschool community, because secular homeschoolers have a little bit of a different need. Okay, we are underrepresented, and that is for sure. Today, I want to talk with you about screens in our home. Before we go any further, guys, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, and give this video a thumbs up. As always, you can find me down in the comment section. I will link everything that I talk about down below in the description box, or you can hit me up over on Instagram at Making Everyday Magic. Today, let's talk about screens. Now, this is screens, homeschool, yes, but also just in our home. I am aware and fully embrace the fact that screens are part of life now. Like this is just what it is, right? Like our society has gotten to a point where screens will always be easily accessible. And so pretending like that's not going to be the case is, well, it's past. We're done, right? We're done with that. Because we know that, again, this is life now. We've evolved to the point where screens are always going to be there. Now, how do we manage that? I am not someone who has ever been a stickler about screen time or preventing that or anything like that, but I do feel like I'm kind of strict in, like, they just don't have full access to screens all the time. So they're not allowed to watch something without asking, or use their tablets without asking. My oldest doesn't have a cell phone yet. These aren't things that we do. I don't give my children unfettered access to anything, really. There's some things that I feel like are safe on their tablets because we have the Amazon Fire tablets and the Amazon Freetime. I do feel like that's safe. I will help them log on to things like Night Zookeeper and ABC Mouse and Adventure Academy, but I do still monitor what's happening within those apps. Because that makes me feel better. We do utilize many kinds of screens and content in our homeschool and in our lives. We have profiles for the girls set up on, Disney Plus and Hulu and Netflix and things like that. And they know that they're not allowed to go outside of that without permission. But we can also track everything that they're watching and everything that they're doing, which makes me feel good because, as you know, it's so easy these days, anywhere in any apps and things like that, to just get into a situation that's less than ideal. I have a strong opinion that most adults don't understand the responsibility of social media and constant connection to people, or understand a balanced and healthy way to use social media, cell phones, internet, things like that. And so I honestly feel that developmentally children just aren't prepared for that. And we don't know what these impacts look like long term, because we're the first generation of having had access to those things, and it didn't come to us till later. So our children is the first generation where the internet has existed their whole lives. They've always been exposed to it, and we don't know what those ramifications are as far as impacts on their development and impacts on so many things. And I know that you've seen a lot of the same things that I've seen, where, Instagram and Facebooks are intentionally targeting young girls, and the way that our search history is used to impact what we're buying and what we're seeing and how we're thinking. I mean, some of those are really scary. I am just not in a place as a parent, especially a parent of young girls, to give them unfettered access to anything. So I don't do that. Again, I'm fully open on them using screens and watching screens and all of that. I just control what gets onto those screens, is kind of my stand on that. And there are a lot of things out in the world that are safe relatively, and there's still things, everything needs to be monitored. Now, a lot of these things that I'm going to talk about, I will circle back, and I do have videos on, like I've got another video coming up really soon on Night Zookeeper because we love it, and it's such an asset to our homeschool. But there are some things, like even within Adventure Academy and Night Zookeeper, there was on our Night Zookeeper account, my daughter had written a thing, and somebody came in and just left a comment on one of the drawings that she had made, and it just said, ew. And it's one of those, like, again, responsible use of these things. So I didn't even realize that this could be an issue, but once I did, I went through, and there is a way within Night Zookeeper where you can turn off commenting. And so I just did. That's not something that we need to be worried about, because it did impact her and it made her feel a certain way that I just don't feel is necessary. And the same thing goes with like Adventure Academy. There is an option on that game, because it is like a role play game. You can interact with people, and she does have friends play it, so she has that chat feature on some of that. But you can really determine who, you can block people, and you can determine any amount of chat or kind of pre-answered chats, things like that. Those are things that I utilize and try to keep a handle on, so as to genuinely control what is coming in and out of our screen lives in that respect. Something else that I don't do, we do utilize YouTube, regular YouTube and regular Google, to do things in our homeschool. But some of the things that I've done, like my kids don't have YouTube Kids. I know there's a lot of things that kind of sneak past algorithms in those, or a lot of things that are targeted at children in a manner that I'm not comfortable with. So I don't allow them. We don't let our kids have YouTube on their tablets. We don't have autoplay set up on YouTube. So if we watch something on our main screen in the living room on YouTube, autoplay is turned off. There will also be, ads and things like that, and the kids know that they're not allowed to watch them. But in all honesty, even like as a parent, we stream like the bulk of things that come into our home, or we have like a DVR, so we record it, so we skip the commercials. So now when we do actually see commercials for things, when my kids do actually watch something that has commercials, they're so like out of the loop on some of that. Like they don't get the constant barrage of buy. But then like my daughter was like, why is there so many medicine commercials? Like even commercials these days, and even primetime television honestly exceeds my comfort level as a parent. So there's a lot of things that we really do try to monitor and gauge as far as when it comes to screen time. So I feel like this can be a really good topic of conversation to be having now, because we are coming up on spring break, and we are coming up on summer break. So share with me, what resources do you feel are safe? Because even the things that I feel are safe sometimes aren't safe, if that makes sense. I know that my daughter was watching Netflix on the kids account, and she was watching Barbie Life in the Dream House, and it's relatively new. And Barbie movies, like I remember being, pretty girl power and fun things like that. Well, my husband and I started hearing things about, I'm jealous and like so-and-so and boyfriend. I'm like, I don't love that. I don't love that. That makes me feel uncomfortable as far as stepping outside of the lines of what I feel is appropriate. So now we have you're not allowed to watch that. If you start repeating things from different shows, it's like, we're going to take a break from that. Like, okay, so we do allow screens in our home. We do allow a fair amount of access to them, but we also want to make sure that we're using them responsibly. And I do feel like knowing that and doing some of those things is going to set us up for a solid foundation. So no, my older daughter doesn't have a phone yet. All of her friends are a little older, and they do. So I feel like that's something that's coming to knock on our door. I did recently see a video that Angela Braniff put out about a Google kind of like safety course that you can do with your kids. And so I'm definitely going to look into that, because I feel like that could be a good precursor to getting some of these other things, is learning how to discern what is safe and not safe, learning how to discern what is a good share and not a good share. Some of those things I think are really important. And we do try to maintain an open dialogue with our kids. My husband and I have always done this in our relationship, where if there's something that kind of applies to someone that we know that could be something we're going to tackle in the future, we talk it out now. When it doesn't apply to us, when it's not emotional for us, and we try to do the same thing in many respects with our daughters. As something is coming up in the world, as it's a topic of conversation for other people, it's like, okay, well, how was that decision? Was that a responsible decision? Was that a good decision? Was that something we should be doing? Like, we just kind of ballpark many things to hopefully lay a good foundation for the future. Make responsible internet users and cell phone users, and make good little humans out of all of this. So share with me down below, guys, what do you feel like is a safe resource as far as screen time. What are your screen time rules like? How do you feel about that? Some people, I think especially in the homeschool world, take a really strong stance about not using screens too much, but like I said, I feel like the world is just there. We're always gonna have one in our pockets. I don't think there's any back from that now, so we just have to embrace it and try to do it as safely and as responsibly as we possibly can. So that's my chat about that, guys. I hope that you found any of that helpful, entertaining, or informative. If you did, please scroll down, hit the big red subscribe button, turn on the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up. Like I said, I do have another video coming up soon on Night Zookeeper. I will link everything that I've talked about down below. Let me know, what do you think? How do you feel about it? Because this isn't one of those things that our parents had to deal with. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't get us all until like high school. Like, this is not a thing. But anyways, we're trying, right? We're trying. We're just doing our best, so here we are. All right, guys, like I said, down in the comments or over on Instagram, I'm making everyday magic.